Ms. Bench, can you take off mute, please? Pressing *6.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay.
Good afternoon. This is cause number 2020-81692 in the interest of Brock Kirkland. All parties and witnesses, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Yes, I do.
I do.
All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the child.
My name is Quinn DeWine Branch. I'm Brock's mother.
All right, sir, your name and your relationship to the child.
Tommy Dwayne Dennis, and I have no relations with the child.
You're a presumed father, is that correct? Is that correct,
Yes,
Mr.?
sir.
All right, hold on.
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
And representing the Attorney General's office,
Luis Regla?
court will note that the non-custodial parent Brian Alonzo Kirkland is not present. He has made an appearance in this court on December 6, 2021 and signed a reset order for this Zoom hearing today, and he's not checked in. Is that correct, Mr. Regla?
That is correct, Judge.
All right, we'll proceed by default.
Thank you, Judge. And Judge, as far as Mr. Dennis, Judge, we've have the DNA testing results in this case filed, excluding Mr. Dennis as the possible father of this case, and I would ask that those be admitted.
All right,
And
court
so
will note that the DNA test report would indicate that the alleged father, Tommy Dennis, is excluded as the biological father of the tested child, Brock Kirkland, who is the child is subject to the suit. And you want to excuse him, is that correct, Mr.?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Dennis, you are excused.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Yes, Judge, I will now call the child support officer, Mr. Barrera.
Okay.
And sir, what's your full name?
Arnaldo Barrera,
And where are you employed?
Office of the Attorney General.
And what are some of your duties and responsibilities in your employment?
I conduct investigations on calculating child support and retroactive child support.
And do you have a report for the court today as far as retroactive child support goes?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and what is your report?
Based on my investigation, Mr. Kirkland's monthly gross income is averaging $14,667.88 per month. After giving him credit for taxes, his net income is $10,948, which is above the cap income of net income of $9,200. So child support is based at the cap of $1,840.
And that is for retroactive child support, correct? And
I also calculated for retroactive child support from January 2nd, 2021 to today of $27,600 to be paid out at $188 per month to
And
begin April 1st.
there's only one child, is that correct?
One child on this case, no additional children.
Okay. And Judge, I will pass the witness at this time.
All right, Ms. Branch, do you have any questions of Mr. Barrera?
No, that was very straightforward.
All right, and then can we excuse Mr. Barrera, Mr. Regula?
Yes, Judge, please.
All right, sir, you excuse.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay,
Judge, and now I'll call the mother as a witness.
all right.
And ma'am, what's your full name, please?
My name is Quinn DeWine Branch.
All right, and the child that you have in this case was born after your divorce from the presumed father, correct?
Correct.
And now we have DNA testing that also confirms he is not the biological father of your child. Is that right?
That's right.
And who is in fact the biological father of Brock?
Brian Kirkland is Brock's father.
And even though Brian Kirkland signed both a paternity testing order and a reset for today's date, he never actually submitted to the court's DNA testing as instructed. Is that right?
That's correct.
Did y'all do your own private DNA testing?
Yes, we did our own test in 2020 when Brock was born.
Okay, and in fact, he actually is the biological father of Brock, correct?
Yes, he is.
All right, and what's Brock's date of birth?
7/1/2020.
Since Brock was born, or even after that, did you and the father have disputes and problems as far as whether to even have Brian in the, I'm sorry, whether the father even wanted you to have Brock in the first place?
Brian did not want me to have Brock from the day I told him that I was pregnant to months after Brock being born. Brian always expressed in a very abusive way how much I ruined his life and he hated Brock.
And in fact, has you had to call the police on Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, he came up to my job where I'm in leadership in January of 2021.
Has there ever been any
Because I finally, I'm sorry?
Has there been any kind of domestic violence between you and Mr. Kirkland?
Verbally, and there would be some physical touch where he would poke me in my head and tell me he should put a bullet in my brain when he found out I filed child support.
Ma'am, you have to narrow your response to the question that I asked. At the end, you'll have a chance to explain more if you want to. Let me just focus
Oh, sure.
on what I'm asking. Has Mr. Kirkland threatened to kill you?
Yes.
And how did he say he was going to do it?
He said he was going to put a bullet in my brain.
How many times has he threatened you like that?
Numerous,
Okay.
at least 5 to 6 times.
And have you called the police on Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, sir, I did.
Is there an open criminal case against him right now?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a protective order that says he has to stay away from you, where you live or work?
He is not allowed to come to the Walmart that I work at. It'll be considered trespassing.
Okay. And has he shown up there in the past without being invited?
He did.
And the police had to escort him out?
Yes.
And given his behavior with you and threats against you and your life, are you asking the court to grant that your address and phone number should be kept confidential from Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, please.
And in addition to that, given the way that he's acted towards your child and not being interested in the past and having a relationship with him, are you asking that you be appointed as a sole managing conservator of Brock?
Yes.
Since then, have you allowed him to see?
I have. He came back. I'm sorry.
And how many times would you say in 2021 did Mr. Kirkland have a visit with Brock?
He saw him maybe 5 to 6 times.
Going forward, are you requesting that visits with the father and the child be supervised by you or someone you choose for 30 visits on first, third, and fifth Saturday.
Yes,
And that after he completes that stage of supervised visits, that he can have unsupervised also first, third, and fifth Saturday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. for 14 visits, followed by 14 all-day visits and 14 overnights before he would ever be able to proceed to a standard schedule of visits.
yes,
And Mr. Kirkland, he actually told you that he makes more than you in annual salary. Is that
yes,
correct?
yes, he did.
And roughly how much do you make?
I make between 140K to 150K a year.
So, and you know where Mr. Kirkland told you where he works?
He told me he works for Microsoft.
Did he tell you what he does?
He said he was a software engineer.
Okay, and you heard the testimony earlier by the child support officer, Mr. Barrera. Is that correct?
Yes, I did hear.
And in fact, are his calculations correct as far as your best estimate?
As far as I know, yes.
And Mr. Kirkland actually has health insurance for your child. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay, we don't actually know how much that costs, but the father's income so far exceeds guideline support that we're asking the court to order the father to carry health and dental. Is that right?
yes,
No, you're only requesting retroactive child support going back to January of last year.
yes.
Since that time frame, has Mr. Kirkland actually given you any money for child support for Brock?
No,
All right. And so would you agree with the state that the court should order him to pay guideline child support at $1,840 a month beginning April 1st?
yes,
And then the court should grant a judgment of $27,600 payable at $188 a month, also beginning April 1st.
yes,
And ma'am, are you requesting a public place for pickup and drop off and for the supervised visit stage to all happen at the McDonald's on FM 2100 over in Crosby?
yes,
Do you think that all these orders would be in Brock's best interest?
I do.
And are you asking the court to grant this default order against Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, I am.
Judge, I'll pass the witness at this time.
Okay, is there a non-disclosure order in here?
Yes, Judge. And ma'am, I can follow up with that, Judge. And ma'am, based on the threats and the harassment and actually showing up at your work in the past, do you believe that if Mr. Kirkland had your information in the future, you'd be at further risk of either future threats, harassment, or violence by Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, I do.
And based on that, are you asking the court to grant that you can keep your information confidential from Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, please.
And Judge, I'll pass the witness.
All right, the court will approve the order submitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.